Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at WeChat.
hmm
Now, you might know apps like Line, for messaging friends, sharing updates, that kind of thing.
Sure, familiar territory for many.
But WeChat, it took that basic idea and just ran with it. It completely reshaped China's digital world and built this, well, enormous business for its parent company, Tencent.
That's absolutely right. What looks like just another messaging app on the surface, it really hides this incredible story of strategic thinking, vision too, largely down to its founder,
Mm-hmm.
Pony Ma.
Yeah.
So our goal today, our mission, if you like, is to get beyond just the basics of WeChat. We want to really understand the key things that made it so transformative.
Right, what were the elements, the decisions? And to get there, we've been looking at some really insightful material. There's one article in particular that dives deep into Chinese IT, focusing specifically on WeChat and, of course, Tencent.
It's fascinating stuff.
Okay, so let's unpack this. WeChat is so complex. Where do we even start?
Well, I think the logical place is the core functions. Like you said, similar to Line. You connect with friends, send messages.
The basics.
Exactly. Initially, it had text, voice messages, stickers, even the social feed moments for sharing updates. So it was already building a pretty compelling experience, more than just simple chat.
But then came the game changer.
WeChat Pay.
Yeah.
Yes. That single edition. It sounds simple,
Yeah.
but it had this profound impact. It basically revolutionized retail in China.
Totally.
And it was a huge factor, alongside Alipay, in pushing China towards becoming largely cashless.
And think about what that did for small businesses, too. Suddenly accepting digital payments was easy.
Oh, absolutely. Lowered the barrier massively. You saw this surge in entrepreneurship, partly because of that ease.
It's hard to really overstate how huge WeChat Pay was. But, it didn't stop there, did it? It became this super integrated platform.
Precisely. That's the next layer. It went way beyond just messages and payments.
Right.
Inside WeChat, suddenly you could access this vast range of services. Think booking train tickets, plane tickets.
Hotel reservations, paying your utility bills.
Yep. Paying bills, ordering food delivery, e-commerce, all sorts of things. And crucially, every single one payable right there with WeChat Pay. Seamless.
That integration is just wow. It's not like having 10 different apps. It's all in one place.
Exactly.
And that mix, the social side and the payment side, that had some really interesting ripple effects, didn't it?
Oh, definitely. Like peer-to-peer money transfers became incredibly easy. And that directly fueled the rise of content creators in China. Video creators, for instance, could get tips sent straight to them through WeChat. Super simple.
Ah, interesting.
And beyond that, the whole digital content market, music, movies, books, got a massive boost because paying was suddenly frictionless.
Which helps tackle piracy, right? Because before, it was sometimes just hard to actually buy things legally online easily.
Exactly. It wasn't always just about cost. Sometimes it was the lack of easy access and payment options. WeChat Pay solved a big part of that. Then you saw it expand into in-game purchases too.
And then there's social e-commerce. Platforms like Pinduoduo. They really plugged into WeChat for group buying, didn't they?
It did, yeah.
Well,
That was clever. Letting users share purchase links easily within their WeChat groups, forming these buying teams. It leveraged social connections to drive sales directly.
it's all interconnected.
But the innovation didn't stop there. Then came something else, maybe even more groundbreaking, mini programs.
Ah, mini programs. Okay, yeah, this is where it gets really fascinating. These aren't like normal apps you get from an app store, are they?
No, not at all. Think of them more like lightweight web apps, but they live completely inside WeChat.
So no downloading, no installing.
Nope. And no separate account registration either. It just uses your WeChat account and WeChat Pay.
That just smooths everything out, doesn't it?
Totally streamlines the experience for everyday stuff, like ordering food at a cafe. Incredibly convenient. And think about it from a business perspective. Suddenly the cost of acquiring users changes. You can reach them right where they are, socially, without that friction of an app store download.
So I could be walking down the street, fancy a coffee. Instead of needing the Joe's Coffee app, downloading it, signing up, entering card details, I just search nearby mini programs in WeChat.
Exactly. Find the cafe's mini program, tap, 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 place your order, pay, all within WeChat.
Then the coffee's ready when I get there.
That's the idea. And that seamlessness is why they exploded. There are, over 2.4 million of them now?
Wow.
They've had a huge impact on Chinese retail. It's interesting, Apple's App Clips concept is pretty similar.
Yeah, shows the influence WeChat had.
Definitely highlights the foresight there.
It really does speak volumes about WeChat's innovation. Although, As our source material notes, for those of us outside China, it doesn't always feel quite so essential, those ID verification requirements.
That's a key point, yeah.
Yeah.
That robust verification is crucial for how it works inside China, for security and functionality, but it does create a barrier for international users wanting that full experience.
Which kind of highlights just how central WeChat is within China. And that makes Tencent's earlier story with QQ even more puzzling, doesn't it?
It really does. Thinking back, it's almost strange how WeChat took over, especially when you remember Tencent already had QQ.
Right. I mean, QQ was massive, a PC-based social network. What was it, 850 million users?
Huge numbers.
Well,
It absolutely dominated China's internet before smartphones really took off.
so you'd think the obvious move would be just make a mobile version of QQ.
Right.
Double down on what works.
That would seem logical. Developing a whole new platform, WeChat, and then prioritizing it. It seemed counterintuitive. Like, why throw away that massive user base?
The waste, almost.
It signaled Tencent realized that just porting a PC experience wasn't going to cut it for mobile. User behavior was changing fundamentally.
It was a seriously bold move.
Incredibly bold.
But obviously it worked spectacularly well. That pivot to WeChat is seen as the thing that pushed Tencent to the absolute top of China's tech scene.
Yeah, you have to wonder if they'd stuck with just QQ, would they have seen that same kind of explosive growth? Probably not.
So to really get our heads around this pivot, this willingness to abandon QQ, we probably need to look closer at Tencent's history and at Pony Ma himself.
Absolutely, yeah. Pony Ma Huateng, he's a really interesting figure. And quite different from, say, Jack Ma. Much lower public profile.
Yeah, keeps himself to himself more.
Seems that way. Often described as, well, quiet, doesn't like conflict. But apparently very strong-willed when it counts. Decisive.
Our source material had some fun details, like he was into astronomy as a kid.
Yeah. And apparently wrote in his diary that his parents killed a future astronomer because they wouldn't buy him a telescope.
Huh. Shows early passion, though.
It does.
Uh-huh.
And then there's his university choice. Pragmatic, he had the grades for top national universities, but chose Shenzhen University for computer science.
Why was that?
Well, partly the program quality, but also practical things like keeping his Shenzhen residency. Very grounded decision.
And his first job, too, seems relevant, working at a company called Rungsun on pager tech.
Yeah, and he even developed software for PC-based pager messaging. You can sort of see the early glimmers of instant messaging there.
He was clearly thinking about this stuff early on.
Definitely. He was fascinated by ICQ, which was the big thing globally then, the sort of precursor to MSN Messenger and all that.
Right.
And he saw the potential for mobile messaging, for exchanging messages on portable devices, basically predicting the smartphone world.
But his company wasn't interested.
Apparently not. His proposal got rejected at Rungsun, and that seems to have been the catalyst for him starting Tencent in '98.
Interesting about the name, too. Tencent in Chinese, partly from Rungsun, partly his own name, and Tencent in English, inspired by Lucent Technologies.
Yeah, little nods there. And their first product, OICQ.
Which became QQ.
Right, after a trademark issue. It really took off. Especially when they added things like free IP-based calls, calls over the internet, not phone lines.
Huge deal back then.
Massive.
Yeah.
Especially for, say, students studying abroad talking to family back home, or migrant workers connecting with family. It bridged generations in a unique way.
And it wasn't just personal chat either. Businesses started using it.
Yeah, informally at first. You'd see QQ accounts on business cards. For customer service, asking about orders.
Like an early form of B2B support.
Kind of laid the groundwork, yeah. And then, jumping forward a bit, came QQ Farm in 2009.
Oh, yeah. QQ Farm. That was something else.
A phenomenon doesn't quite cover it. Seemingly simple social game, but it just captured the whole country's attention.
Everyone was playing it, pending your virtual crop, sneaking onto your friends' farms to borrow their harvest.
Exactly. Basic farm stuff, but with that really addictive social layer. Helping friends, stealing from friends.
And crucially, this was a big moment for Tencent making money, right?
Huge. They already had their online payment system, Kai Futong.
Right.
And users could buy this virtual currency, Qcoin, using Kai Futong, and then use Qcoin for in-game stuff in QQ Farm.
Like buying special seeds or tools or whatever.
Precisely. And they were clever about it. They'd often give you a taste of the paid features for free first. Get you hooked.
Classic freemium model.
Done really effectively. Once you saw the benefit, you were more likely to pay to keep using it.
And the revenue was just insane, wasn't it? The source mentioned something like 300 billion yuan over 5 years.
Staggering numbers.
Yeah.
Really shows the power of understanding users and creating engaging social experiences and monetizing them.
But even with all that QQ success, all that money rolling in, the landscape was shifting again. Email was becoming a bigger deal, especially for work.
Right, that was one of the next big challenges. Emails started looking like a serious competitor, particularly for business communication.
So what did Tencent do? Just add email to QQ?
Well, not quite build it from scratch. Their move was strategic. They acquired an existing popular email client called Foxmail,
Ah,
and then adapted it, integrated it, and launched it as QQ Mail. It was a fast way to address that business need and keep users within their ecosystem.
smart. But the challenges didn't stop there. Then you had Twitter emerging globally and Weibo taking off in China.
Exactly, a different kind of social networking, more public, group-based, less like QQ's private IM focus.
And Pony Ma saw that shift coming.
He did. He recognized it as a potential threat, especially how younger users were adopting these platforms.
Yeah.
So Tencent started developing its own microblogging platform. It was initially called Qzine.
And this is all happening right as the world's moving from PCs and those old feature phones to smartphones. Must have been a really uncertain period.
Hugely uncertain. Ponyma's first instinct, apparently, was maybe separate platforms. Keep PCQQ and QQ Mail for business, and have this mobile Qzine for personal stuff.
But the lines were blurring.
Fast. And interestingly, to really push development on this microblogging thing, he actually set up internal competition. 3 different Tencent teams were building competing versions of Qzine.
Wow, 3 teams fighting it out internally. That's pretty intense. Shows how important he thought it was.
Definitely signals urgency. And the team that eventually won out with their version, they made a really critical decision.
What was that?
They decided not to just integrate it with everyone's existing QQ friends list.
Really? Why not? That seems like the easy win.
They wanted it to be different, focused on connecting people through their actual smartphone address books. The idea was to foster more real-world connections, not just the online ones people had built up on QQ, especially through games.
Ah, okay. A deliberate break from the QQ model.
A very deliberate break. And that focus on real-world phone contacts, differentiating it. That's what led to the name change, from Qjin to WeChat or Weixin in Mandarin. To make it clear, this is something new, not just mobile QQ.
Okay, makes sense. But launching something totally new, did it take off straight away?
No, actually. Initial adoption was pretty slow. Even months after the iPhone launch, the user numbers were tiny compared to QQ. For a while, it might have looked like a mistake.
So what turned it around?
A couple of killer features, really. First was Shake. Yet you and someone else nearby could both shake your phones at the same time, and it would instantly add you as friends.
Oh, that's clever. And kind of fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Became super popular, especially with younger people. A cool, novel way to connect in person. And then came QR code scanning.
Ah, QR codes. Ubiquitous now.
Well, WeChat really pushed them into the mainstream, made it incredibly easy to add friends just by scanning their code. Or even for temporary stuff, like quickly sharing photos without needing a permanent connection. That catered to a much broader audience.
So shaking QR codes gave it the boost it needed.
A massive boost. User numbers started climbing rapidly.
And right around then, just as WeChat's getting traction, WeChat Pay enters the picture.
Perfect timing. And they leveraged the existing payment system from QQ, Kaifutan.
So they had the infrastructure ready.
Pretty much. Initially, it was meant for things like in-app purchases, buying game credits within WeChat, that sort of thing.
But then something unexpected happened.
Yeah, users started doing something Tencent hadn't really planned for. People started using WeChat Pay to send money to each other in person, just using QR codes.
Like paying a friend back for lunch by scanning their code.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
just sort of happened organically. Grassroots adoption.
Wow.
And Tencent, smartly, saw this happening and jumped on it. They quickly formalized it, let merchants set up their own QR codes for customers to scan and pay.
And that's what really kicked off the cashless thing at scale.
That was the spark, that user-driven QR code payment trend, which then, of course, spurred Alibaba's Alipay to quickly get into the in-person QR code game, too.
Leading to that fierce competition between them.
Intense competition. And that rivalry is really what accelerated China's massive shift away from cash.
It's fascinating how it evolved, and it's important to remember, like you said, even though the product shifted dramatically from QQ to WeChat, Tencent's core business areas stayed pretty consistent, didn't they?
Remarkably so. Social networking, BD support, gaming, payments, those pillars remained. WeChat just became the new incredibly powerful platform integrating them all.
And enabling new things, too, like those social e-commerce platforms, Pinduoduo and the like,
Man,
heavily reliant on WeChat.
absolutely. Built on top of that WeChat ecosystem, often with Tencent investment as well.
And Tencent's business support went beyond just payments, too, right? Helping stores digitize.
Yeah, helping with store management, inventory, customer data,
Yeah.
becoming a broader partner for businesses going digital.
And we haven't even talked much about gaming. Tencent is, what, the biggest gaming company in the world?
By revenue, yes, huge. Through acquisitions, but also their own massive hits like Honor of Kings and the mod versions of PUBG and Call of Duty. Massive titles, often integrated with WeChat or QQ for social features and payments.
It all seems to circle back to WeChat in the end. Powered by WeChat Pay, enabled by mini programs, it just fundamentally changed Chinese retail and how people live their daily lives.
It really did. A complete transformation.
So when you boil it all down, what was the secret sauce? What allowed Tencent to pull off that incredibly risky Q2 to WeChat transition and achieve such dominance?
Well, the source material we looked at argues quite compellingly, I think, that Ponyma's real strength is understanding the underlying business first.
Not just the product.
Exactly. He figures out the business need, the market direction, the why, and then develops the necessary product, the what. And crucially, that allows him to make timely, even radical product shifts when the underlying business logic demands it.
Instead of getting too attached to a specific product, even a really successful one like QQ.
Precisely. There's often a tendency for companies to cling to their cash cows for too long.
Right.
Ponyma seems to have the foresight, or maybe the pragmatism, to see when a fundamental shift is needed for long-term growth, even if it means disrupting your own success in the short term.
The QQ to WeChat move is the perfect example of that. Business vision driving product strategy.
It really is. And you just have to look at the results. WeChat's global user base is now enormous, approaching 1.2 billion people.
Wow.
And Tencent, as a company, has overtaken Alibaba in market capitalization, the total stock market value.
Incredible. And it seems Ponyma's personality, that quiet but decisive nature, played a big part in navigating all that.
Seems very likely. That ability to make huge, bold decisions without necessarily making a lot of noise about it beforehand.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive today. We've traced WeChat's journey from, well, a messaging app to this all-encompassing platform that's central to life in China. We've looked at that incredibly bold strategic pivot away from the giant that was QQ.
A decision that really defined Tencent's modern trajectory.
And we've seen how Ponyma's focus on the underlying business rather than just the current product seems to be the key to Tencent's adaptability and enduring success.
It's a powerful lesson in strategic thinking.
It really is. And maybe that leaves a final thought for you, the listener. Think about established companies today. How many face that challenge, needing to potentially disrupt their own successful products or business models to stay relevant for the future?
It's a huge dilemma. What industries or technologies right now might be on the verge of that kind of radical transformation we saw with Tencent? And what seemingly small innovations today could snowball into massive shifts in how we all live and do business tomorrow? Something to definitely ponder.